In this video today, we are going to be ranking every legend in Riftbound as of right now. This is going to be slightly different now. Some legends, actually, in my opinion, have good abilities or exhausts or taps or just things that their legend ability does, but they're not great decks right now because the synergy with the cards in their colour isn't there. But there are some decks that are going to get better and better as more cards come out. So one legend, for example, that's getting better and better, in my opinion, is Darius, because his Legion ability alongside Death Knell and Red and Yellow, as more of those come out, is getting better. But there's going to be some legends that, whilst they might be pretty strong right now, they might be ranked slightly lower in this tier list because I don't think their legend is actually that good. So for this video, we're purely ranking every legend based on how good I think the actual legend is. So when I say legend, we're talking like, we say Teemo, we're on about that you may pay one to hide the card with hidden. Literally just this, not how good their decks are. So Teemo will start with him. You may pay one to hide a card with hidden instead of power. Or you can pay one and exhaust him to put a Teemo unit you own into your hand from your champion zone or board. Now, if this was reaction, it'd be a little bit better to protect him, but it's not. So often it's not particularly great. Being able to hide, it's pretty good. I think this Teemo legend, though, honestly, would need to basically get the bundle tree where you can hide. If the legend said you can hide an extra card at battlefields, that would be very good. I'm going to put him C tier. I think the fight or flight nerfs hurt him as well. But I think as a general ability, it's okay, but there's a lot more needed. Allowed to hide an extra card would probably put this to A tier. And then, like bundle tree games, you could have 3 hidden cards. That'd be amazing. But that's what I think it should have been. Let's look at Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa's the one where she basically gets a sealed turn 1. It's reaction as well. Add a power on spells. She's a spell slinging deck. I'm going to go S tier. I think she is a crazy legend, and it's one of the reasons she's just so good constantly. When you play a mighty unit, you may exhaust me to channel 1 rune exhausted. I'm going to go C for this. To play mighty units, you have to get to higher runes anyway. So a lot of the time, you're not even getting volleys. Legend. So, and the fact that you have to exhaust him as well means you can't do it more than once a turn. It's a pretty poor legend, in my opinion. Jinx, at the start of your beginning phase, draw 1 if you have 1 or fewer cards in your hand. Some people might disagree with this, but I'm going D tier. It might give you quite a bit of draw at times, but when you have to constantly run low on cards, it means that you're forced to, if you want to get anything out of your legend, you're forced to play cards just for the sake of it, just to get your legend ability. And then that could mean you could deramp runes. It could mean you use cards when you've got better times else. You could have used them. I think, honestly, Jinx Legend's pretty poor. I get the idea behind it, but I think she's an okay deck because red and purple have been probably the 2 best colour combos in the first 2 sets, but I think her Legend's poor. Darius. Reaction, Legion, add 1. So if you play a Legion card, you can use this Darius Legend to save a mana. So you can get an extra energy. I'm going to put this B tier. I think that Darius Legend is okay. The problem is it's only on Legion cards, but there is pretty good Legion cards. But if it was not Legion cards, it could go to high A tier. Ari, probably quite an underrated legend, I would argue. When an enemy unit attacks a battlefield you control, give it -1 this turn. I'm going to put this into A tier. I think it's honestly pretty good. This works on every unit, so that's pretty nice in general. Lee Sin, buff a friendly unit. If it doesn't have a buff, it gets +1. I'm going to go C. I think that's pretty poor in general. I don't think... Obviously, it does suit his thing, but I don't think it's very good. Move a friendly unit to or from your base, from your sewer. We're going to go B tier. I think that's effectively kind of like a fight or flight that can go both ways. Pretty damn solid. Definitely rate this one. However, I don't think because it's not reaction. If it was reaction and you could do it on their turn, it'd be very, very good. But in a post fight or flight meta, I think it's even better. Leona, when you stun 1 or more enemy units, buff a friendly unit. If it doesn't have a buff, it gets +1 buff. Gonna go low C. I think obviously she's all about stuns, but you don't get that enough, so it's pretty poor. Victor, where is he? 1 mana, exhaust player, 1 recruit. I'm going to go A tier. I think this is a very good one. The best thing about this, in my opinion, is you cannot brick turn 1. Even like you want to run like generally anywhere from 7 to 9 2-drops in most decks to try and make sure that you can't brick turn 1. The maths are in your favour at that point. I think once you get to 7 and above it, the maths are in your favour. However, Victor, while he does run some 2-drops, obviously like Soaring, Scouts, and Honest Broker, if you have Victor Legend, you can never turn 1 brick. You can also on turn, if you go in second, have free energy, you can also play a recruit and a 2-drop quite often. So Victor is very, very good, and this gives him a lot of just constant pressure on the board, which is very nice. Misfortune. Give a unit ganking this turn. I'm going to go B. I think ganking is one of the best keywords in the game. In a game that's all about taking battlefields, it is very nice. And again, post-fight or flight ban meta is very good. Set. When a buffed unit you control would die, you may pay power and exhaust to spend its buff and recall it. So I'm going to put this into A tier. It's an S tier ability to have a constant Zelonius, I would argue. However, because you have to spend a power and the unit has to have a buff on it already, I do think that hurts it a bit. But it's still a very, very good legend that can be quite game-changing at times. And I think Set's a legend that is going to constantly be pretty solid. Annie, we're putting probably S tier, to be honest. Annie doesn't have a signature basically. She does in terms of she has Tibbers, but no one ever uses Annie's signature, and she's still considered a pretty good deck. I know what it does, but I want to Proving Grounds. There you go. At the end of your turn, ready 2 runes. Just constantly having a Targon's Peak basically is very powerful, and purple has a lot of what you call it. It's 2 E's. Purple has a lot of 2-drops, so that extra 2 runes and is constantly gained over a game is going to give you a lot of value. While a friendly unit defends alone, it gets +2 might. I don't know. I'm probably going to go low B. Early game, this is very good, but the meta, especially the edicts, hasn't really been to hold. It does, like, early on, it does make certain units, like the Stalwart Poro, very good. It basically has 5 might when defended. However, it's not very easy to defend battlefields by yourself. If this gave +2 when attacking alone, I would 100% put this as like a high A tier one. But I don't think it's particularly great. Looks, when you play a spell that costs 5 or more, draw 1. Gonna go C tier, high C tier. She does have good synergy with a lot of those spells. However, you're not getting access to this legend until normally a few turns in, and quite often you're not even going to use it. So it's okay, draw, but yeah, it's not what I would be too bothered about. Garen, when you conquer, if you have 4+ units in that battlefield, draw 2. We're going to go D tier. Draw 2 is obviously nice, but the ability to conquer with 4 units is very rare. That's not something you are going to get to do often. So to me, that just makes it a bit of a non-one. Your mechs have shield. They have +1 while they're defenders. D tier, to be honest, I don't think Rumble's deck even that good at holding. You can get around this with spells. I just don't think that's a particularly great one. To be honest. Lucian. Your equipment each gives assault +1. I'm going to put Lucian B tier. He obviously enjoys as well. Could. The problem is it doesn't give +1 when defended, so I'm not going to put him as high for that. Draven, we already know what Draven does, and we already know where he's going to get ranked. When you win a combat, draw 1. Best legend ability in the game, in my opinion. It's one of the reasons he's so oppressive. This should have been either a tap, so you can do it once a turn, or it should have been one of those where, what was I going to say? Losing train of thought. It should have been one of those where you have to actually assign damage, you can't just rebuke them or something. Rek'Sai, when you conquer, you may exhaust me to reveal the top 2 cards of your main deck. You may play one, then recycle the rest. So this is pretty good, honestly. I'm going to go A tier. The synergy that has with Rek'Sai is very nice as well. On reaction, add power, use only to play gear or gear abilities. I'm going to go B tier. Gear, the ability to save power on it is it's like a seal for gear, but spells like for cast are just that much better. Jax, this got a nerf effectively with the rulings on not being able to reattach gear. I'm going to go B tier, that's solid one. Aurelia, when you choose a friendly unit, you may exhaust me and pay power to ready it. When you conquer, you may pay 1 to ready me. I'm putting this right up there as one of the best. The amount of crazy stuff Aurelia can do in mobility she can have in a turn, a lot of it because of this is just insane. Azir. Your Sand Soldiers have Weapon Master. Pay 1 mana, play a 2 Sand Soldier unit token to your base. Use only if you played an equipment this turn. I'm going to go B. I think that if you didn't have to have played an equipment this turn, it would be a lot better. But the fact you have to play an equipment does hurt it. Ezreal. So reaction, you draw 1, use only if you've chosen enemy units and gear twice to turn with spells. I'm going to put it B. Again, there's a lot of B just in the mid. Because with Ezreal, you will quite often do this. However, because you can only do it once a turn, and it's not always the easiest to get off, I'm putting it a bit low. Renata Glask. When you or an ally holds, you may exhaust me to pay a gold gear token exhausted. So that's pretty useless. While your score is within 3 points of its score, your gold add an additional 1. If this was like while your opponent was, or while your score was within 4, it would be a little bit better. But yeah, for now, it's got some cool stuff it can do, but it just doesn't do enough in my opinion. Sivir, when you recycle a rune, you may exhaust me to play a gold gear token exhausted. When 1 or more units die, ready me. You kind of have to deramp to use that. I'm putting it into C tier. I think it's okay. When one of your units becomes mighty, you may exhaust me to channel 1 rune exhausted. Well, it's a bit better than volleys because I think it's just easier to constantly get off. I'm going to go B tier. I think Fiora gets a lot. Whenever I play against Fioras, they get this constantly happening. So I think it's pretty solid. I'm pretty happy with this. I think the D tier, the only ones where I'm just like, yeah, these are useless. C, they just don't feel massively impactful or not easy to get off. B, they're pretty solid, but they're not really game-changing. That just win games constantly. A, they're very noticeable and very annoying to play against. And S, these are game-changing legend abilities that are very hard to play against. And yeah, you have to constantly think about them. Whereas like the B and below, you don't have to think about them too often when you're playing around these legends. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments if you agree with my reasoning. As always, I appreciate you tuning in. Hope to see you on the next one. Peace.